Have you ever slept for 10, 12, even 15 hours after a shift and still felt extremely drained? If you're a full-time registered nurse, you probably know what I'm talking about. You push through your 12-hour shift, sometimes even 14, 15 hours. You come home, maybe you have to settle your kids, settle the family, just maybe get a few things done around the house, and then you know that this is your time to sleep, especially if you're not working that night or you're not working the next day. So you get into bed and you pass out. You wake up 15 hours later, 12 hours later, and you're still like groggy. You're still not rested. You don't feel rejuvenated. You felt like the 15 hours went by in 5 minutes and you're wondering what is going on. And this has been happening to you for years. This has been happening to you for years and there's no explanation. You probably went to the doctors, you probably saw your PCP, they probably prescribed you some medication to sleep better or some melatonin or something to put you in a deeper sleep, and you're still not feeling well rested and it's starting to affect your life and you're wondering what is wrong with you because you're getting sleep after work but you're not feeling rejuvenated, you're not feeling recovered. If this is you, you need to keep watching this video right now. So I've been blessed to be working with nurses and other healthcare practitioners for the last 5 years, and I've seen this pattern among so many of them, especially night shift nurses. So you're probably thinking you have a sleep problem, right? You're probably thinking maybe you need a new mattress, maybe you need a better environment in your home, but I want to tell you it's not a sleep problem. Your sleeping is fine. It's a recovery problem. And we're going to go into the major reasons why you're not feeling rested after you sleep for 10, even 15 hours after your shift. So, reason number one is it's a nervous system overload. So, what I mean by this is you have to understand the nature of your job. It's not 9 to 5 desk work. You're not typing some numbers and having a few minutes to, here and there to be on your phone on social media or walk to the bathroom every 30 minutes, talk to your friend on the way there, on the way back. You're working a highly demanding profession, lots of critical decisions you have to make. The environment itself, the buzzing, the beeps, the sounds of people dying, this is a lot on your body, especially mentally on your nervous system, and it's keeping you in a highly alert state. You're in a highly alert state, way more than, like I said earlier, somebody who's just working a 9 to 5 job, somebody who's working at Pizza Hut. You are experiencing danger on a repeated basis, and you're not understanding the repercussions this is having on your nervous system. It's keeping you elevated. Your nervous system is on 10. Your cortisol levels are through the roof, right? And you do this for 10, 12, 14 hours, depending on the type of facility you're working at. And you do this multiple days a week. So obviously this is rewiring your nervous system. And if you have no proper decompression option, if you have no proper consistent stress management option, your nervous system will always be high. You will always be wired. And this is a testimonial I've received from some of my clients when they started working with me. It's like, hey, Dominion, sometimes I'm waking up in the middle of my sleep even, and I'm just wired. I'm just ready to go. I'm on fire. Or it's like when they want to go to sleep, they can't. It's like, how can you not be able to go to sleep after working 10, 15 hours? Right? They tell me they lay in their bed and yeah, they feel comfortable, but they're just not able to sleep because their brains, right? Their mindset is just going and going and thinking about this patient and thinking about, oh, if I made this right decision, and they're just wired. They're thinking about their family and thinking about if they missed anything, right? So this is categorical evidence that there is a nervous system overload and it's going to directly impact your ability to get rested sleep. So alongside with a nervous system overload, this is going to trickle down into cortisol dysfunction. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard this buzzword all the time, cortisol, high cortisol, you're working a highly stressed job, you have so much cortisol in your body, this is not good. Yes, and as a nurse, you understand that stress is a silent killer, right? So chronic stress can lead to cardiovascular issues, it can slowly age you faster, it can just lead to a lot of metabolic issues, right? So you guys have an understanding of why too much stress, too much cortisol is not good, right? So having that nervous system overload, you're bound to have cortisol dysfunction, right? You're bound to have an imbalance in your cortisol rhythm, right? So when you wake up, you're supposed to have a healthy dose of cortisol, You guys know that because you're waking up. This is your body's mechanism to get you active and get you alert and start moving, start being productive. That's normal, right? But again, this is the biggest problem that I don't think a lot of nurses really grasp because they think it's normal. You've been a RN for 10, 15 years. So yeah, going into work after huddle, you're hearing patients screaming, "Oh, my leg!" You're walking past blood and you're walking past these crazy, and you're almost desensitized to it, right? Cognitively, you're almost desensitized to it, right? But internally, your body is still releasing these hormones from the reaction of what you're experiencing, right? So let's say you have 4 patients, right? Boom, another admit, GSW to the stomach, and maybe this person reminds you of your son, kind of looks like your son. It's a young person, and you're like, oh my gosh, I hope this kid is okay. His mom, like you are experiencing a lot of stress in that moment, right? Cognitively, you may not be aware. You're like, oh my gosh, this sucks for this kid. You might feel, bad for this kid, and now you're getting ready to treat and help this kid out. But internally, your body's releasing so much cortisol because this is a stressful situation, right? And again, I just made the analogy. I'm not saying this is all the time, but maybe this person resembles a loved one. Maybe, you lost a loved one and this person is reminding you of that, right? And cognitively, you're not thinking of that. It's in your subconscious, right? But it's still inside of you, right? And when your brain is having those thoughts, is having those experiences, the body's innate reaction is still going to happen, right? Which is high influx of cortisol, right? And I talk about this so much. I try to educate all of my clients so much that when the body is riddled with cortisol, when it's filled with cortisol, you cannot lose weight. It is basically impossible for you to lose weight consistently and effectively when your body is filled with cortisol. And the nature of almost every registered nurse, your body is usually filled with lots of cortisol if you're not properly handling your stress, right? So this is a huge factor in why nurses are not able to get well-rested sleep because their cortisol is riddled in their body, right? And when your body's filled with that cortisol, it's extremely hard for it to fall asleep, right? That's why you feel that wiredness feeling. That's why you just randomly wake up at 2 a.m. and it's like you've only been sleeping for 4 hours and it feels like it's been 10 minutes and you can't, sometimes it's even hard to go back to sleep, right? And it's not a matter of you got to use the restroom or anything. No, you're just waking up and you're just up. You're just awake, right? And when everybody else is sleeping, when you're supposed to be sleeping, you're just awake, right? This is what happens when there's high nervous system overload, but also cortisol dysfunction. Okay, so reason number 3 on why you're sleeping all these hours and still not feeling rested goes along with the not having recovery, right? So you're under eating, you're having poor nutrition, and having good nutrition is one of the best forms of recovery to the body directly, right? Yes, it's having good sleep, but we're talking about why you're sleeping, you're not feeling rested, right? And hydration, yes, right? And a stretching, allowing your muscles to be relaxed, yes. But one of the most direct forms of that recovery is your nutrition, is what you're putting inside of your body. Because I'm sure you've heard the statement, you are what you eat. If you're eating tons of hamburgers and processed foods, there's nothing wrong with hamburgers, guys. There's nothing wrong with hamburgers if you make them healthy. Because I actually have a healthy type of hamburger dish that I give to my clients. So let's scratch that, right? If you're getting burgers from like McDonald's, okay, that's BS. It's not even real chicken, right? It's not even real beef. So if you're getting fast food, if you're eating tons of fast food, if you're eating lots of processed food, lots of foods that you have to microwave, right? They're not whole foods. They're made in like Costco, and it's just pre-made foods filled with lots of sodium and all these other preservatives. You are going to be a reflection of that, right? It's going to damage your metabolic health. It's going to interfere with your hormonal balance. Versus if you were eating whole foods, foods from the earth, foods that are alkaline, foods that are filled with tons of macro and micronutrients, foods that your body was designed to absorb. Your body was not designed to absorb a soft serve ice cream from McDonald's. Okay, it was not designed to absorb that. It was designed to absorb apples. It was designed to absorb chicken, right? So, and some of the vegans may fight me on that, but it's your loss. You need to eat chicken. You need to eat meat, guys. So the under eating, right? If you're working lots of stressful, long 12s, 13s, 14-hour shifts, and you're under eating the right foods, the right macros, and maybe you're even overeating and indulging on the wrong foods, right? The vending machine snacks, that is going to exasperate the nervous system overload plus the cortisol deregulation, right? So you have to have proper nutrition if you really want to sleep better, right? And feel more rejuvenated after you sleep, because guys, this is when your body is healing itself. Your body does not heal itself when it's awake like this. My body's not healing itself right now. My body is keeping my blood pressure good. It's keeping my heart rhythm nice. It's moving stuff around through my red blood cells. It's not healing myself right now. I'm not growing. There's no HGH being released right now. But when we're sleeping, that's when all those processes are happening. I teach my clients that you don't lose weight in a gym. You don't lose weight when you're eating food, right? In the gym, you're just ripping your muscle fibers apart. And when you're eating, you're giving your body the resources to rebuild. That rebuilding process happens when you sleep, right? So if you're not able to have effective REM sleep, now you are disrupting that healing process. And when you're disrupting that healing process, you're going to wake up not feeling healed, not feeling rested, not feeling rejuvenated, even though you slept for 15 hours. So the last reason why you're sleeping all of these hours and not feeling rejuvenated is you're probably overtraining. So if you're trying to lose weight, which a lot of nurses I encounter are, because the nature of their job destroys their health. So they're trying to lose weight, they're trying to be healthier, they're trying to have more energy, trying to build more strength. And they follow conventional routes, right? Do more cardio, eat less. Work out 5-6 days a week and eat 1,000 calories, right? So I experience a lot of nurses who are overtraining. What this overtraining is doing is intensifying the cortisol release into your body, right? Because working out is stressful, though it's a healthy kind of stress, right? But there's different levels. So the stress release when you're strength training is completely different than the stress release when you're performing a HIIT workout and you're burning, like your heart rate's like 180, 190, versus when you're strength training, your heart rate's like 130, 135, and you have a little bit of a breather. It's a completely different levels of stress release into your body. So a lot of these nurses think, oh, this is how you lose weight, right? Because we grew up watching the P90X, we grew up watching the Jillian Michaels, and all these people just doing all this cardio, and they look nice and toned and sexy, and they're running a lot, but all that's doing is intensifying the stress in your body, right? And which is making you not be able to have fully recovered sleep, not be able to have REM sleep because of the excess cortisol in your body. Okay, so what is the solution, right? So let's go down the list. Number one, we need to regulate our nervous system, right? So we need to have proper stress management options that actually help our cortisol come down after a shift. And this is one of the things that we do in a hot nurse protocol. After every shift, they have a stress management option to do, because it really does help. And guys, you don't need to meditate for 3 hours after your shift, right? 10 to 15 minutes. When I worked at MedStar Hospital during COVID, this is what we helped the nurses do, because they were super burnt out. You guys know COVID was a mess. It was crazy. And the burnout rate was through the roof. It was just horrible, right? So 10, 15 minutes of some deep breathing, prayer, meditation, grounding. These are just a few exercises, a few modalities that you can do. They have been found to significantly reduce the cortisol levels in your body right away, right? So you do this for 10, 15 minutes after your shift. Now you're putting your nervous system in a better position to get rested sleep. Because if you don't do this, now your nervous system is still overactive. Cortisol levels are still high and you're trying to go to sleep, versus if you had brought those numbers down right away. It doesn't take 3 hours to activate. It can happen right away. Now you put yourself in a better position to get well rested sleep. Okay, so you need to be eating for energy. Not eating to lose weight, not eating like a rabbit. You need to eat for energy, meaning you need to have macronutrient friendly foods, right? So healthy carbs, healthy protein, healthy fats. This is what's going to build your lean muscle and improve your metabolic function, right? Now, as you improve your metabolic function, this will again put you in a better position to have well-rested sleep. We just learned that eating is one of the direct forms of recovery for the body. So if we're eating macro-friendly foods, if we're eating nutrient-dense foods on a consistent basis, our bodies will feel more comfortable. If your body is getting a McDonald's meal in the morning, nothing throughout the day, and then a whole bunch of processed sugar at night, it's not feeling comfortable. That's when, again, that's when diseases forms. Why? Because your body is diseased. When your body is diseased, you start to develop diseases. So how do we ease the body? We need to eat proper nutrition. And once you start doing this consistently, you will notice a change right away in your body. And the last thing, of course, is training smarter, not harder. And it's crazy. It's a crazy phenomenon when my nurses come into my program and they think that, oh, they need to continue to work out 5 days, or maybe they're already working 5 days. They just need to work 6 or 7 days. And it's the willpower that they're missing to get them to work out 7 days. And I tell them, hey, we're working out for 3 days. They're like, what? They're like, excuse me, what did I just invest in? You're telling me I need to do less? Yes, you need to do less, right? You need to do less cardio. You need to do less of what you're doing, because what you're doing is actually working against you. So what is training smarter? Strength training, mobility training. We need to build lean muscle. Science has already coined muscle as the organ of longevity. So you want to go into your mature years more stronger, more fitter, to look younger when you're in your 40s and your 50s. Those wrinkles on your face happen when there's a lack of muscle mass, when there's a decrease in muscle. And you guys know, once everybody hits 30, sarcopenia happens, muscle mass starts to decrease. And that's why these old people, they need canes, they need walkers. On my back, they have significantly low skeletal muscle mass, right? So we need to build muscle, and how we do that is performing the right strength training exercises consistently and progressively over forever, right? You need to strength train forever. It's not something, look, I have muscles, I still work out, right? It's not like when you get the muscles, you stop working out. You have to be consistent. It has to be part of your lifestyle, right? Because it's a small sacrifice. I don't even see it as a sacrifice. It's a small investment. So I know that when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, I don't need a cane. I don't need drugs. I'm going to be doing everything on my own, 90, 100 years old. Yes, 100 years old. I'm going to be taking care of myself because I invested all of that time in my youth, right? Developing lean muscle to make me a more better human, to make me a more advantageous and have more longevity in my life. And obviously, as you have more skeletal muscle, this will improve your metabolic function. And we talked about earlier, when your metabolic function is optimal, this puts you in a great position to actually have rejuvenated sleep. You can actually recover from your sleep versus if your metabolic function is poor. And building lean muscle is a sure way to improve your metabolic function, right? Because muscles require more caloric load, they require more energy than fat, right? So it actually filters your body better, right? When you have more skeletal muscle, it helps your heart pump better, right? It improves your cardiovascular health. So that's why having more skeletal muscle is going to improve your metabolic function. And as that metabolic function improves, you're going to have way better sleep. So if you're tired of being tired of working multiple 12s, saving lives, only to come home, sleep for 10 to 15 hours and not get rest, you need to start now. Because if you keep going the way you're going, nothing's gonna change. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I'm going to give you a free framework to help you input all the things we talked about into your daily life so you can start sleeping better. And once you start sleeping better, you're going to feel better. You're gonna have more energy, you're gonna feel more rejuvenated, you're gonna wake up and actually have the desire to get things done around the house and the energy to get things done around the house, and your life is gonna be better, right? So if that's you, just drop the word energy in the comments and we'll connect. I'll send you the framework and you're gonna have a more energized and more rejuvenated life. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Make sure you check this video out. It's going to be extremely valuable for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.